Dear Clark, greetings from the Dwarf Empire. This is a tale of my extraordinary rendition, if you will, particularly considering the contraband I smuggled through customs. Nothing to declare. Officials were too concerned with the skull I had concealed in my hand luggage to notice the Dutch landscapes which I had liberated from the Stasi's secret archives as bait to snare the hunter. And yet I will deny all the crimes I commit in these times of modern conflict until proven otherwise. I was flying into town for the 2015 Format International Photography Festival, having been tipped off that the hunter would be there. After all these years, my love, I would finally steal that which he stole from you, avenging your incarceration whilst he roams the world rapaciously, hungrily, thirstily. There is no evidence. This letter, and thus your experience of the events I am about to describe, is the only proof that I was there at all. In the middle of all the madness. By seeing distant horizons through my eyes, you have always collaborated in creating the narratives I scatter like a bomb as I clusterfuck the world. My images become actors as you turn upon my axis, co-creating as multifarious untruths unfurl. You have been suspicious, always, of constructed and linear stories. And this is why I love you.
I'm very suspicious always on constructed and linear stories.
We both realized a long time ago that the truth is going to be composed out of polyphony,
not out of a
singular voice. Incidentally, I struck lucky on the flight to London. My neighbor was a Las Vegas brain surgeon called Tuxin, and I was gratified that he had good stories to tell as unbelievable as they sounded. He told me he was in exile and showed me snapshots, selfies he had taken in the oddest of places. Praying in a hidden mosque, in Detroit before the crash, him in 1973 in a red room with but a single light shining in the darkness. It seems I am not the only one who enjoys rebooting the system as we smuggle sensitive material under the gaze of the all-seeing eye. Tuxin showed me a book with images he asked me to breathe on, revealing intricate patterns of fruity contraband booty which slowly decayed before my eyes. He told me that if the sun goes down, heroes eventually die, that nothing lasts forever. Nothing is so certain, that pictures often lie. Kaboom. Strange man, this Tuxin. Some kind of super tourist, though a little unstable. Ah, but how I have always lived for this commonality of strangers. Glimpsed through these windows, these fleeting points of intersection we have into each other's lives. Glimpses, mugshots which fade as quickly as they are taken. It's difficult to remain focused on a single image anymore. And yet, photography is a shiny surface which makes us believe in things, just as a con man makes you believe in things you desire.
Makes you believe in things you can't. makes you believe in the things you can.
After landing at Heathrow, I jumped on the tube to King's Cross and then a train to Derby. The Italian stallions met me at the airport. Here was my opportunity to reinvent myself as a bohemian artist full of creative energies and in touch with primal urges. We imbibed some kind of love bomb given to us by a fake fur coat wearing vegan called Peter Rabbit, and stumbled across the town, lights ablaze, a wash of yellow haze adding a sheen to the cold and the grey. I immediately missed the heat of the tropics, as I have missed the heat of your touch for all these years. Memories of our lovemaking, Clark. They sometimes impinge upon the screen of my consciousness like fragments of a meteor. Like pixelated faces of looters running riot in my bloodstream, these images are unclear. I take them and I shake them like a Polaroid picture, awakening whatever still remains of the past. But often these pictures of us, our holding hands at the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, the moment we met at the Justice for Domestic Workers protest, are eclipsed by a presiding, lingering loss. And yet I live in hope that you do indeed read these words, seeing the world again through my eyes. I once made a promise to you, Clark, that I would forever be an agent of truth, that through my mapping the territory you would be able to trace the shadows, echoes of the fairy tale we have been living since you first laid eyes on me. Because all of us like to be admired, don't we? Remember? The most subtle of signals exchanged across the breakfast table at Heartbreak House. A flick of your hair, setting into motion a whiplash transition, which has shaped and molded our lives ever since. And so listen. The Italians and I arrived at the scene of the crime minutes later, the love bomb still playing havoc with my neural pathways. 8 said he loved me, but I ignored him. There was work to be done. The crowd was transfixed, each and every one of them freezing their tits off watching a film about the greatest photographer on the planet, who later burst out onto stage dressed as the king singing, "It's now or never." This was the signal I had been waiting for. I turned to the hunter and whispered the trigger sentence. Color is a storyteller in and of itself, before sticking my tongue into his ear and scanning his repository. These points of alignment which find us and bind us, always arriving with pitch-perfect timing. I remember you sticking your own tongue into my oral canal and sucking out my dreams for the first time. Dreams of a dog called John Berger, who began to have nightmares after eating sausages from the infamous Parisian butchers, Le Petit Mort. And now here I was sucking out the hunter's dream, and finding the key you had taught me to find. Those dark secrets, those residual traces which control our every action. I lost myself in his dream. I found myself tumbling back into time. I am 14, a young girl playing on a rooftop. Now I am 6, and the melancholy of loss permeates my every waking moment, as if I am tied by gossamer threads which bind me to both the past and the future. I fell further, deep into the hunter's dream, and there, Clark, I fell in love 100 times. Though my tendrils reached out in search for a love which will replace the pictures of you, underneath my surface there is a dark web, and your oily fingerprints lie at its heart, like some kind of fat spider, bearing spectacles and a tiny spider erection. Suddenly, with my tongue still in the hunter's ear, his face melted into yours. It was as if he or you were blind, reading me like Braille, reading the dirty thoughts embedded in my skin as if I was simply a ruse for the entertainment of men. And finally, in the pages of this book, the location of our prize was revealed. In the morning, I made my way to church, the same church your grandfather was married in. It is said that when he kissed his bride, he had an idea which would eventually lead to the greatest invention of the 21st century. And in church, I sinned. As the high priest Besser placed a psychedelic wafer on my tongue, I stole the book I had come to find. Ideas are little creatures at birth. If you listen to them, they will tell you what they want to be when they grow up. The problem is that we seek a singular narrative and there is none. Simply many moments which we string together for the sake of easy answers, cheap thrills. And all we can do is take pictures. They become buried and compressed into strata, the Jurassic, Cretaceous, photographic. Dust to dust, memories of old wars, fragments of future meteors, all of us hoping to find a falling star.
Photography is a shiny surface.
Photography
makes us believe in things.
Photography
Just as a conman makes you believe in things you kind of desire. He just reflects your wishes and hopes.
Photography